Hello! In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to add key rebinding. Since most tutorials don't cover it well enough, especially for axis binding, that the common options usually show you how to reset it, but you won't have two buttons for each axis. You'll have just one, or have overlapping buttons and stuff like that. So this is for everyone who always got stuck on this stuff. And also there is a reset button, and I'll show you generally how to make this menu. Won't go into detail because everyone has their own preference and I don't like designing widgets. So we'll start simply. User interface, widget blueprints, basically as always, widget, key rebinding, call it toot. Since this is a tutorial and I'm using my game's code as an example. I'm also going to sneeze and I'll probably cut it. Alright, the sneeze is not coming, but thank you for believing. Alright, so scroll box, simple shit. I'll pretend you didn't say shit because YouTube will probably ban my video or whatever. Then we're going to put input key selector. So for the accents, the bad voice and everything, this is me in the middle of debugging, finding out that there's no good tutorial about it, and after figuring it out, I'm making an archive for myself. I'm going to name this jump, put in the no key specified text, we'll later change that, and on the name of the button. Then we're going to click key select, and then I'm loading up my code from previously, and we're going to start with something simple, key rebinding. We'll later convert this to a macro that you could edit easily, but yeah. So we're starting with key input settings, and get action mapping by name. Now, we'll change this action name later on, that's pretty critical, but not for now. Now we're going to do for each loop, and we're going to get from this remove action mapping. We'll remove the context sensitives tick from here too, because it usually doesn't show what we need. Well, it sometimes does. Sometimes. We'll connect it to input settings, and then we'll go from here. We'll add a branch. This is for later. We won't connect it now, but remember to do it later on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this selected key. We're going to break the input by key. Wait, no, that's not it. See, sometimes context sensitive does work. It is helpful sometimes. Then we're going to what's its name? Going to use that to make an input. We're going to do action, and we'll connect the two of these later on. We'll just mark it for later. It's R because they aren't connected. And we're going to connect these keys, so in case you have a combination of keys and stuff like that, like Control S, you'll have that. And now we're going to add make input action key mapping, and add key mapping. Remove context sensitive again. Remove key mapping. Oh, add key mapping, sorry. Come on. Add key mapping. Add action mapping. I'm sorry. I'm not used to this tutorial stuff, barely made any preparations, and we're going to remove force rebuild key maps from both things here. The key will connect later. I'm going to add a reroute node, route, as well as a reroute node here. And we'll connect this here and a reroute node here. This is for when we make the actual macro. This will help us. A little shortcut. Oh, and we'll also connect the action name here. Now we're going to duplicate this, and this time we're adding force rebuilds to both add action mapping. I'm sorry. And then finally, another bug is save key mapping. This will make sure that once you package the project, you'll have everything, and you won't find yourself wondering why that doesn't save anything. Like, why doesn't it save specifically the key binding? Just get into the habit of using it. I'm not connecting anything here. This is for resetting the key to default. I'm not connecting anything here because specifically my code doesn't have it, but if you do, just connect it out afterwards to a macro. I believe in you that you are capable enough of doing that on your own. Now we're going to collapse everything into a macro, and we're going to call that key rebinding. Now to make a order out of everything, out of this mess, we can delete this. These are all names, so we are going to choose one and move everything here. The same key, no, that's not the same key, sorry. Then we're going to remove everything that isn't used. This boolean here is for reset key, and this is going to be the default key. Now, if we look in the event graph, we'll disconnect a few of these. You'll see that now we have an action name, a reset key, a question or tick or whatever, and then the default key we can set to. So we'll set that to spacebar, sorry, and we'll name this jump. Now we have the first key. Now you can repeat this for every action button and stuff like that. It's supposed to work. What do we have? Oh, I forgot to add to connect this to input settings. We'll pretend that my code is organized, that I'm totally not under any deadline or whatever, and took the time off to do this. Now, why does this have key mapping? Oh, it's missing the key mapping. This is supposed to be connected to input code. That's odd. Oh, sorry, never mind. This is connected to here. Sorry, got confused there for a second. We'll remove this. Sorry for inconvenience. Hopefully this is enough information for you to forgive me for being very unorganized. Now, we're going to do the same thing for the axes. Now, the axes, here's the difference. Here we'll say forward and another one for backwards. Forward and back. And we'll change the not selected to back. Forward. Feel free to skip these few steps because we've already done them, like in the tutorial, in watching this tutorial, not actually while coding. Now we're going to basically do the same thing, but this time this is going to be for axes, so these have different nodes. Again, sorry for my horrible accent. not fun. For each loop, blah blah blah, input settings. Then we're going to get axis mapping by name, not action mapping like before. Now here there's the entire thing with the reroute. You know the drill. Here we're going to do almost the same thing as before, but this time we're going to do something a little different, and that's what most tutorials don't cover. We're going to do a branch, and then from this branch we're going to add remove axis mapping, sorry. Antics force rebuild key maps, not sure what it does, but it sometimes messes up with you. We'll keep the key mapping connected, and then we're going to break input axis. This time is context sensitive. Then we're going to do scale equal, and then we'll connect this with a reroute outside. Now what's this going to do is it's going to check for the right scale. As with scale and everything, you can see here, open this up, you can see here that we have, for example, forward and backwards, we have scale -1 and scale 1. This is how axes work. This is the default settings. What I'm doing here would work with the default project. If you have consoles and stuff like that, I don't know how to work with it. I never had to. But that's because I'm only working on my first game and I'm trying not to overscope, but that's unrelated. Anyways, back to the tutorial. The rest is very similar. By the way, this will only remove, instead of it removing everything, this will only remove the scale the key with the scale that you're trying to edit. Alright, so branch, what's its name? We're going to connect the key here, break input code, make input axis. Yeah, this is the same thing. Since we won't have control shift and all this stuff, we won't have it connected. We're going to connect this here and the name to the output or input, sorry, here. And now we're going to add key mapping or axis mapping, sorry. Come on, axis. What am I doing wrong? This is supposed to be connected to here. Add axis mapping. Oh, and also this is the same reset type of thing, reroute node. Well, we've done before. We'll connect this here. This time we're keeping it ticked, the force rebuild key maps. I don't know, I've been following tutorials, this is what works. Don't blame me if it doesn't. I have barely any clue what I'm doing. Yet I still presume that I know better than the tutorials. I'm just giving you the edge cases and stuff that aren't covered in videos yet. Now we're going to take the key. This is our custom input for the default value, reroute, all those fancy words. Then we're going to save key mapping. Save key mapping. And a random reroute, because I'm lazy. Okay, this is supposed to work now. Supposed to is my favorite word. Take everything out. Collapse to macro. This macro is supposed to be called axis rebinding. Then we'll just do this simple act of moving everything to the right location, removing duplicates. There are probably way better ways, but hey, since you're a, what's it called, advanced developer, you're supposed to be fine with me working in a very messy way. This is basically a note for myself from the past, because God, I don't want to go through this again. We'll move the boolean here, reset key, question mark, default key, be the typo, because of course I couldn't be an ESL without having some typos. I think it's called ESL, English Second Language. Alright, now we'll remove all this stuff here. So remove, not enter. Now we have another. We can edit this out later on. Actually, we'll do this now because it bothers me. The input code should be uppervolve, scale here. Pretty similar to the one before. This will help us edit whatever axis we want. Oh, and of course I forgot to connect everything to input settings. You're supposed to get used to it by now, especially if this is your second rewatch. Okay, pro tip, always finish watching the tutorials. Like, watch it at least once before you start following. I always follow this. Now here, we're going to put scale on 1 because this is forward, and as we have here in input settings, where was it? Here on the axis, forward W is 1. So we're going to do that, and because it's too soon, we're going to copy paste this into the axis name. If we want to reset this key, we'll set it to W, but we won't reset it. This we'll use in a later event. Now, next up, and congratulations on being able to follow me. Next up, we'll do the same thing. This time it will be a negative scale, and for that we'll have the input as the default input as S, and we won't reset the key. This is supposed to be enough. You can, if you have, I'm having a strong. If you have more input axes, more input actions, stuff like that, as you've probably seen, I have quite a few. Just copy paste it. You can see here how I just did that for every single one. Next up, you won't need an exit key. That's pretty simple. This is an edge case of mine because I didn't know how to code when I started this game. Next up, we'll do a reset option. Reset option, pretty simple. We're going to do a custom event, reset keys. You can also add a button for it if you feel like it. And add some text. Always funny how I write button and just see in the search bar I wrote but. Reset keys, blah blah blah. And we'll add an input on clicked. Here we'll just click reset keys. Honestly, I don't know why I made a custom event. You might want to, you might won't want to. English is a weird language, and good luck. Okay, so for resetting, these buttons, what we'll do is we'll have, I think it was for specifically these, we'll connect these. We already set the input, the default input, so now all we have to do is press this button, reset key, and let's compile. Yeah, specifically for input code, but basically everything else you can basically do a random blank variable. It doesn't have any meaning. This is just how it worked for me. Now, this is basically how you reset it. To see, and we're going to make another macro for this, to see the default button like here, what we're going to do is that we're going to make two more functions to show you how to base this. This is similar to this thing. What we're going to do here is we're going to first of all open in my notes here, and by notes I mean the code I wrote literally 30 minutes ago. We're going to grab, I don't know, jump button. This is for actions, action key binding, and it's going to be set no key specified. This is for when it loads up. Once you have it specified, it will have another value. I've tried messing with it. I've tried using a set key selection text and stuff like that, but I honestly don't care enough as long as it works. Might reset afterwards. Like, the only trouble is when you press reset. Like, say, I don't know, I set W to H. Once you press reset, it won't change it back to W. That's the only thing. But if you close it and open it back, well, sometimes this does this, sometimes it doesn't. This is a little bug. Hopefully you will be smart enough to figure it out without me. I'm going to figure it out later on, and I won't make a tutorial about it because this is not an important thing. Yeah. Now, we'll start with the basics, which is basically get input settings, get action, action mapping by name. Then we're going to do get, and we're going to get a copy because since this is the only value, you can see it here. There's only one value for most stuff. Crouch, one, first one. Now we're going to break input action mapping. This is basically why you want to watch this tutorial. Anything other than that, you can get somewhere else in a better quality. And then we're going to set it here. Now this is basically it. We're going to add that reroute note here. We're going to get this button out, and then we're going to, you guessed it, collapse to macro, call it get and set key name. Now here, since you won't have it connected to anything, you just copy paste for memory because you gave it a normal name, jump. Then you set the right button you want to, and that's basically it. You can do the same thing for axis. Actually, why is there an error now? What did I forget? It's not an input selector, therefore target is expanding, must have a connection. Oh, so I removed it by negligence. I don't know how it's called. I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, you have to have one connected. Nothing too shabby. We're going to basically do the same thing, but of course, fixed. And we're going to do the same thing for the axis, so get and set axis mapping. We'll have scale as well. My solution might be buggy, I don't know, I tested it a little bit and it worked fine, might not for you. I believe in you, you're a strong developer, strong independent developer that needs no tutorials. Okay, so, oh wait, we need get one of those, set key selector forward, blah blah blah, set no key, specified text, then get input settings, get axis. This is going to be a longer tutorial than I thought. Reroute node, then we are going to get, and this is where it starts to get a little funky, because here we're going to do a select, and here we're going to get a float. So honestly we can package it now. Reroute node here. I know I can add the executable pins outside, or like after I'm adding the macro, I just don't care. Get and set axis name. Then we can delete this, this, and this. Connect this here to the event construct so it loads up perfectly. Now here we're going to connect the key specified text. No, we're not going to connect that. I'm just confused because I'm not paying attention and I'm really, really tired. Okay, so from here, we're going to add a float variable. This is going to be the scale. Honestly, if you came to this tutorial, I wish you luck, because I know you gotta dive pretty deep into the internet to find it. And if not, then hey, YouTube gave me a free promotion even though I cursed multiple times. I'm going to edit that out. I'm going to add a bleep or something. We're setting here as long as it's equal to 1, and we're going to add a little note. Might be buggy. Might be buggy. If it is equal to 1, then we're going to display the second variable. If it's not equal to 1, then we're going to display the first, or the other way around. You're a smart independent developer, you don't need no tutorial to show you how to do stuff. Break input axis, get key display name, and we're going to connect that here. Now, that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically it. You might want to add the entire, oh yeah, we need a reference here. Reference for the button. The button will be forward, I guess. Scale is 1 because scale here was 1. There's not much into it. Here, move forward and backwards like before. You can basically duplicate it for second button, inverse the scale, and that's basically it. That's how it shows. Let's see if I forgot anything. Open notes. No, that's basically it. So good luck on your developing. This is supposed to be the final results order. I basically copy paste my code here. You can see it here. Basically the same but messier. It works mostly. The display button thingy doesn't work, even though I set the update button's name here to an event. You're more than welcome to do the same, but this is your own thing to do. You need to figure it out on yourself. Good luck.